Can you believe it? What you're looking at right now is a recreation of Doom Eternal in Labo VR's Garage mode, featuring multiple weapons and the dash style of gameplay we all know and love. And it blew me away. So much so that I immediately wanted to touch base with the creator, Mr. Tiffles, in order to find out more about the creation process, along with their thoughts on the upcoming Game Builder Garage, especially since the trailer even teases that they're going to recreate it in Game Builder Garage as soon as they can. So with all that out of the way, Mr. Tiffles, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Hooray, it's me.
I have to say, first off, I've been following your work for a while. I discovered it on the Labo VR subreddit, and you've had some amazing creations, including Super Hot, and which just blew my mind as to what you could create in Labo VR Garage. And now here you are again with Doom Eternal, and I have to ask right at the top, how long did this take you to make?
Probably about 12 hours, if I had to guess.
That's it. Wow, I'm impressed.
I started it quite a few months back, and it's only until recently with the announcement of Game Builder Garage I was like, I should pick this up again because I'm very excited about competing with all the amazing creators that I know are gonna show themselves. There weren't enough for Labo. Like there were some amazing people, of course, but I need more competition, so I'm being prepared for that. But that was quite a few months ago, and that, funnily enough, like Doom on the Switch officially came out December 2020, and I'm pretty sure I started making this before then. And before that, I was making a VR version of Doom 2016 in Labo as well, but that video was not going well.
What changed then? Like what made Doom Eternal work for you, whereas Doom 2016 wasn't?
The big thing is switching from VR to just regular, controls really, because that was the big selling point of Labo VR. You can put it into the cardboard goggles, and the big thing was the elephant controller, the Toy-Con, and that allowed for like 6 degrees of freedom, where your Joy-Con's position as well as rotation was tracked. So as soon as I saw that, when it was very first announced, I was like, I need to do this, because you can make so much of that. And eventually I lost interest of the VR side of Labo, since I finally got my own actual VR headset I wanted for years. That made me think alright, can't go back to this, but it's still fun to make Labo games, and I don't want a headache, so I should make something for my fans. And at this time, Doom Eternal pretty much became my favorite game, most played on Steam. Not saying a lot because I don't play too much on Steam, but I thought, okay, I'm gonna make this. I didn't borrow any assets from my 2016 build. That featured the super shotgun, but this one I started with the plasma rifle because it's so blocky. I thought I can easily create that.
It's a good starting point, yeah.
It feels good to do it, and I think it's my favorite video yet.
Yeah, the trailer you put together is fantastic. It seems like you're just really capable in a lot of ways, whether it's making Labo VR games, cutting the trailer. I assume you did all of that yourself, right?
All of it, yeah. And because my background, which might explain some of the Labo stuff that came out, is, I have prior stuff, mainly an artist, strangely enough, instead of a programmer. I've been programming for years now, but not nearly as much as art, so I'm not quite as confident in it. But Labo the Garage and Game Builder Garage, by extension, is once you have programmers fundamentals in you, binary, on and off, true and false, ands and nots, even though not is not so much a programming thing, you get the idea and you can kind of create stuff from there. For the first few days I couldn't understand it for the life of me, but once I thought, oh, it's like this in Unity, I thought, oh, there we go, that makes sense.
I reviewed Labo VR when it came out a couple years ago, and I took a look at the garage, at the garage mode, and I'm like, wow, this looks super impressive, but I don't understand any of it. I don't remember if it had any kind of tutorials at all or not, but I didn't find it to be very helpful. It wasn't very user-friendly, even though I'm sure in programming terms it is. But just even looking at your own video, you show off some of the programming and quotes that went into it, all the nodes you connected and all that, and it looks complicated. And that's why I'm partially so excited for, I think, Game Builder Garage, because it uses a very similar interface, but they're actually walking you through it in that case. They're going to show you how to build these games. So I guess what made you push through to understand how to make something in Labo VR's garage mode?
Part of it was there were tutorials in there. They're a bit out of the way. You had to kind of go into the top left and find them, but once I did, they actually did help a lot. I really wanted to make stuff. It's pretty expensive cardboard. I may as well put the time into it, right? Because I really wanted to make stuff, and well, a big part of that was I love VR, and at that point I didn't have VR, so I was like, I need my own VR games. I need to make stuff because there's some pretty cool stuff in like Labo Garage VR, but I wanted more. I wanted Superheart, Beat Saber, and insert my channel here, the other things I make. So I thought, okay, may as well do it myself. That's the funny thing, like everyone's joking about Game Builder Garage, like I can make Nintendo's games for them, and that's like that inspired me to be like, well, you can make a bunch of stuff at the same time. You can't do things, then you can do some things. The most creative things come out of combining the fundamentals and the very specific Labo things to overcome things, and the physics isn't very good and it's quite limiting, and so I had to make a bit of my own system going on in Doom Eternal. I could describe it, but it'd take it 2 years. But I'm glad I got it down. But in the current build, there's 2 builds of this. There's one where it works on a flat surface, and there's another one where you can jump on things, but you can't collide into walls yet. So there's still some stuff to figure out. But it's partly because of I haven't figured out yet, or there aren't exactly the most robust features to allow that yet. Well, with programming, there's tons of ways to do things, so we'll figure it out.
Yeah. You even have the music too. Now, is that music fully created in Labo VR as well?
Yeah, that was the most annoying part because I didn't do stuff like that before. So that started out as I'm gonna recreate a little timeline thingy like in FL Studio or something, or Audacity, into a Labo VR. So I did that, and then the beat was completely off because I'm not the best at music compared to my other stuff. Not at all. So the beat was off, and I was impatient, and I thought, instead I'll make a little leap pad. You know those like things? It's like a board with tons of buttons, and it lights up, and it's great. And they play sounds and stuff, and you just assign what you want to them, and people make music. I made one of those, and that was really fun. It was so much more fun than the old thing, but the problem persists where I'm really bad at beat, and now that I had the responsibility of playing live, it did not work. I couldn't. Then it became impatient again, and I was like, I'm just gonna go back to the old thing. And this time I used my head. I counted the blocks, and tried to count in like 16s and stuff to actually get beats and just the right like beat distance and tempo and stuff, and it finally clicked. I thought, finally I can finish this video. And it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, you did a great job capturing the essence, at least, of the music or the melody. Now, one thing I was curious about is, again, you have a couple rooms in your version of the game. How do you actually, do you have a way of transitioning between those rooms, or is that something you just did for the trailer? I was just wondering if that mechanic worked in your version of the game.
But that's the funny thing about vertical slices, where you show off like a game that's for a trailer or something, or just like, here's the game, but you can't play it, because if you did, you would understand how unfinished it is, because you're in the little tutorial room. That black room was recreated from Doom Eternal, because when you first pick up the chainsaw, and you get the chainsaw the 3 little zombies, I recreated that room because I thought that's the simplest room in the whole entire game. And this software is not giving me enough node space to make anything else, so I'll do that. And so you start off in there, but you can just walk through the worlds, because since I tweaked a bit of the physics myself, there's no more vertical physics going on anymore. So you can just walk through it, and you're in the outside world. And it's funny that you say that there's so much going on, because I thought there wasn't enough. It's blank outside, and the enemies die after 1 hit. So I thought, oh god. But then I realized that in the latest Doom Eternal DLC, they added enemies that die to anything. 1 hit from anything, a meat hook, a punch that's not even charged up yet, anything. So I thought, I'll paint them red because as a funny little homage, and I wonder if anyone would notice. So
That's pretty smart.
so it's art out of limitations, and you have to do that with a software like this. And it's part of what made it more fun. I've had so much fun making this, and I couldn't really take my hands off it. And with my actual other projects going on, it's sometimes I can lose track and lose focus a little bit, because with Unity, it's like you can do anything in there, but they give you millions of tools, and you feel like, oh, I don't know every single one of these, and I know I'm not the best Unity person out there. With Labo, I feel like I'm pretty good at this, and you kind of know all the tools, and you get acquainted with them, because it's like a little flatmate with a few mates. There's only a few to worry about, whereas Unity, it's like a whole like city, and it's like, I don't want to deal with this. So it makes things a lot easier.
I mean, I think that is what's going to be a huge part of Game Builder Garage, is just that it seems to be accessible, much as this seems to be, relatively speaking. And I think that's why I'm excited personally, because as one who really got into Super Mario Maker, one of my favorite things to do is really push the limits of that engine, where I tried recreating like classic arcade games in Mario Maker, and I could get surprisingly faithful. And that's what I'm really excited to do here as well, much as you are, like seeing, what kind of games can I make in this, and how close can I get to the real thing, And I think there is something about having those limitations that kind of forces you to be even more creative and like work within the constraints that you're given. And there's something fun you said earlier about if someone were to play your version of the game, they'd see that it's kind of broken in a few ways. But that's one of the major drawbacks about Labo VR's Garage Mode, is that you can't share these games. It's locked to your console, and that's what really sucked. Because what was the point of spending all this time on the game if no one but you could ever play it? So what motivated you to finish these games? Was it purely just to show it off on your YouTube channel and on Reddit?
Yeah, it's like it pushed me a lot, because it's big practice. I wanna post games on Game Builder Garage as soon as I can. Like, I wanna be first in line, and it helps that you can plug a mouse in too. That's gonna be so good.
Oh, that's gonna be great. Yeah.
So like, I just wanted to get the video out, show people beforehand, or just kind of show people, hey, I'm coming for Game Builder Garage. you better hide. So man, I'm so cocky in this interview. This is my first interview, believe it or not.
It's all good. Hey, if there's something you've earned a right to be cocky about, it's recreating entire games in Labo VR Garage's mode.
I put in half a level into another person's game. I am so proud. So yeah, that's I'm so excited for Game Builder Garage. You can finally share stuff. Isn't that crazy? The things that should have been in the previous game. Because you're missing half of the experience if you don't have that. You have a platform where you can make games. And what if you can't make games, or you're impatient and you don't want to do that? So it's good to have the option to download other people's games, or just act as a community and make a big game together, or just the possibilities are great. And I think that's why there weren't as many Labo creators, and not many people knew about Labo, because there wasn't much to talk about after the game came out.
Yeah, I mean, it was just completely wild to me that Nintendo, as you just kind of touched on, Nintendo effectively made their own version of Dreams, albeit on a much, more limited scale, before Dreams had even come out. But the problem was, they didn't give you any way of sharing things. So I'm glad that they're finally addressing that with Game Builder Garage, because without having a sense of community, what was the point? Why are people going to make these games? And I'm glad that you stuck with it, because it's amazing. Because your creations are kind of showing what you'll be able to do in Game Builder Garage. And actually, to that point, you've watched the trailers for Game Builder Garage. You've seen some of what you can do and how the interface works. How similar is it? Like, is it pretty much the same thing? Like, do you think you'll be able to make what you're making now in Game Builder Garage? And do you think you will? Like, will you recreate Super Hot and Doom Eternal in Game Builder Garage, or you can start over with something new?
It's very similar, and I will try and port as much stuff as I can. Definitely Doom. I don't know, like, most of my projects were VR, so I don't know how much I want to do from that, but mostly Doom and new projects. But there's a lot of stuff similar, and the best thing is just it's the same thing, but a lot of quality of life changes and improvements, which is lovely. Like, some of the things I added is just, I wish I was there to begin with. Like, if you look at the top right of like the whole blueprint window, there's you see the same thing in Unity and Blender, where you can look at the different axes. Whereas in Labo, the whole time it's a top-down perspective, and not every game is top-down, or that's not super helpful when making like a 3D game or like a third-person game. So that helps out a lot. Then there's little things like glowing effects. You can make objects glow now and they light up. I really wanted that for Doom Eternal in like my build of it, because you can't just have a laser gun and have it be like opaque. It doesn't work.
No, not so much, right? What's been the hardest part of working within Labo VR Garage for you so far across any of your creations, if not Doom Eternal? Like, has there been like one thing you've just been hitting your head against the wall trying to make work and you couldn't, or you finally stumbled across the solution to it, and what was it?
I think it's the lack of documentation. No one talks about this game. I wish they did. So you just have to figure out everything yourself, and it's a lot easier compared to something like Unity, because there's only a finite amount of things, and you can learn about them relatively quickly and test them all out. And if something doesn't work, you can be like, oh, have you tried this? And then you do it. And with Unity too, like if you make a mistake in code or something, it's like compiler error, you're not allowed to test the game, you have to fix it yourself, and with this you can just keep testing and testing and testing. So with there's like a silver lining to these things, but it's funny the duality, because there's sometimes I look at Labo and it's like it's crazy the amount of potential you can do, like all these things. Because if you're good at math, that's a huge like advantage, because there's so much of it that is like math, ones and zeros, numbers after one, and so many things. But then there's other things you just cannot do and I don't know why. If you place an object without a hinge, they give you the option to rotate it, but they don't give you like the z-axis, so you can't rotate objects in a certain position. And there's other things that just really limit like the kind of games you can make sometimes, which does boost your creativity and makes you find other solutions, and it makes your project even more special and rewarding, because it's like, well, didn't think that could happen. And especially with Labo, like there's so much untapped potential that people will finally explore in Game Builder Garage, so I'm excited to see that.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of limits, which you just kind of touched on, I'm looking at your the creator mode, editor mode, whatever they call it in the game, and I'm looking at, there's some numbers in the top left corner, and it looks like you're pushing up against the limits of all of them. You have, I don't know what all these icons mean, but one specifically, there's a node cost, and you're at 1,800 out of 2,000. So are you basically pushing the limits of what you can do in Labo VR Garage? Like, is there much room for adding anything else, or are you pretty much at the limit?
That pretty much happens with every project, because they don't give you a lot. Because the on the furthermost top left is a node, the box thingy, and that's not just the physical objects you put into the scene. It's also the logic as well, like the numbers. And then there's connections next to it, which gets about equally as filled up, because that's what you connect each box to. And a lot of times you don't always have one connection going between two boxes, sometimes it's multiple. So I found out that in Game Builder Garage they doubled the node count and they quadrupled the connection count, so that's more than enough connections. I would like if there was a little bit more nodes, but it's still amazing. Like the amount, I can add more than twice as much to Doom Eternal on Labo Garage now. So there's a bunch of stuff I want to add in the future. That'll be fun. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Yeah, well, speaking of which, do you have anything in mind for what you may work on next, presumably in Game Builder Garage, or are you kind of keeping that close to your chest right now?
The two biggest things I wish my product had more of is more nuanced enemies and recreating actual enemies from the game, and more environment and platforming sections. That'd be so cool, but that might... I would love to see how much I can push the node limit with that, because that's like a lot of potential there. But then there's all these gameplay mechanics I want to add too. I want to add punching. The chainsaw would be fun. If I add glory kills, I would, but that's going to be tricky with all the like lock-on animations and stuff. But who knows? Maybe I can find a way. But weapon mods are another thing too. These are just like the standard weapons, but I could make it so you hold down the left trigger and you activate the mod, I'm thinking of making the opening cutscene to Doom Eternal in Game Builder Garage. Like just no gameplay, just like animated with
God.
like blocks and stuff.
That'd be amazing. I want to see that.
I'm not gonna skimp out and use textures and make it a slideshow. I just want to make the whole thing in 3D. That's another thing about Game Builder Garage. Textures. That's like the biggest thing, right? It's cool. It's gonna bring out so much more potential. I don't know how much I'm gonna use them though, because I think it's endearing and cool what you can make with the really primitive shapes already. With the like, in terms of like the bare minimum like blocks. Like all you get is sphere, cube, and cylinder, and you can make a bunch of that. But I wish they added cones. But I've seen no signs of cones. But that would probably help complete it a bit. But you can make a lot of those. But that's what I like. I make because of course like my weapons don't look exactly from Doom Eternal, and I don't have the space to add too much more to them at the moment. But it is. You look at it and go, oh, someone made that. That's cute. And it gives it more life. Whereas if it was like textures, it's still cool, but it's not the exact same effect. And I like doing 3D stuff, so I'll definitely play around with textures for like UI and things and other stuff. And definitely have projects where it's all about the textures. But I want to do a bunch of 3D stuff. That's what I like.
Yeah, I'm already picturing, like, with the new sprite creator or texture creator in Game Builder Garage, I'm almost picturing you using it as to recreate, like, classic Doom enemies, but within your Doom internal...
I had that in mind.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that would be kind of like an amazing mishmash. And it really is going to go a long way, I think, to making these games feel a little bit more visually distinct, and, you know, just cooler looking in general than they can in... Labo VR's Garage Mode, even though what you've done here, again, is still, like, mind-blowing to me. Real quick, though, since we've been discussing so much about pushing up against limits, and we've brought up Dreams a couple of times, why not use Dreams? Is there any reason you decided to stick with Labo? Is it because of those very limits that you've stuck with it, or, yeah, have you thought about trying Dreams as well?
I like to try it, but I don't know about making videos about it, because it's like, there's so many talented people out there, and programming isn't even my best thing. So there's people who, and I'm not like I'm not here where I am with Labo because I'm arguably the best at it. It's because there's not as much competition for it. Not as many talented people are discovering Labo and taking the time to make games on it. With Dreams, there's so much competition, and that's no reason for me not to try it out. It's just it's more fun to like scrape at the potential with Labo and stuff. So I should get it sometime. I have a PS4 now, so I'll give it a quick little go. And if I need more content for my YouTube, I can make Dreams videos. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, maybe after you play some Game Builder Garage. Don't overload yourself with too much at once. Too many game creators.
I'll completely exhaust it.
There we go. So is there anything else, I guess, about Game Builder Garage that you're excited for, and how excited are you for it in general?
Yeah, I think sharing is going to be a lot of fun, because the best thing I can do with some of my games, apart from playing them, which you're lucky, it takes a lot to make a fun game in Labo, because controls are like a big part of that, and you kind of have to really like do it yourself with controls to make a game fun. But another appeal about games is sharing them, and the fact that you can't share them sucks. Like, I have a video that... One of the reasons why this took so long is I had a video beforehand I wanted to release, but I thought, this game's too simple. I need to start speaking in my videos and have like animated sections and make a whole thing out of it. But it was too much, and it was still a simple game, so I didn't. So just that's where sharing could have come so much in handy. Like just sharing, be like, here you go, you can play this little experience, and people are like, yay, that's cool.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, people can actually post their own videos now of your games. Like, hey, here's me playing Doom Eternal in Game Builder Garage. And I think it's going to really help build a much stronger community that Labo VR, unfortunately, was never quite able to capture. I guess real quick, before we wrap it up here, I was just curious specifically about how difficult was it for you to get those movement options from Doom Eternal in here, specifically with the the jumping and the dashing, most specifically? Did that take like a lot of trial and error, and are you able to offer like a quick rundown of how exactly you made that work, with you being able to propel yourself through the environment?
I would love to give a rundown. So like the jumping was interesting because you have moving objects in Labo, and you just connect axes to them and like number values into the X, Y, and Z, and Y is up in this case. So I just put in like a button input into Y, and for a single frame that gives it the input of like 1, and it makes it go up in the air. I have a touch sensor attached to that, so it's like, okay, once you touch the ground, your jump count resets and stuff, and there's like double jumping, so that's like 2 jumps in the air. Put sound effects for those. Dashing is that's like another moving object thing where like you just put a number into the Z-axis because that's forward, so dash and go forward. Funny thing about that too is there's screen effects for Labo, and one of them is damaged when you get hurt by an enemy. But I thought this looks just like dashing in Doom, I'll use this. So even though it's not the intended purpose, it works out, which is the cool thing about Labo. It's kind of like it's kind of like a Mad Max thing where you're just using junk and like things that just like that's insulting to the game. I'm so sorry, Labo, you're not junk, but just like all these things around you that aren't necessarily what it's made for, but you make it work because that's the beauty of it all. And so that's like jumping and dashing, and the whole movement system is the craziest thing because everything about Labo is based on physics, and whether you like it or not, and you have to kind of cheat the system a bit in order to like have your own way. And on default, and you have a character like this big going around on screen and moving this fast because it's Doom, the character slides all over the place because there's not enough friction. And the only option is to make it slippier, and you don't want that. It's not a nice level. So I had to get a moving object, move it with the analog stick, but I had to make it move slowly, because when you move something slowly, there's less friction. Actually, there's more friction. It's so it stops more. So then I get a location sensor, I put that into the camera coordinates, and then I speed it up. So now you're moving the same speed you were, but now you stop quicker. And then there's all these other questions about collision and jumping and stuff. And in one of my newer builds that I want to expand more in the Game Builder Garage, it goes crazy. But I'm getting closer. So yeah, hopefully when it gets into people's hands, it'll feel familiar, it'll feel fun to play, and they can kill some demons.
Yeah, I hope so too. I can't wait to try it out myself and everything else you create. And I guess my final question is, since you probably have among the best understanding of the limits and the things you can do in Labo VR's Garage mode, when you took a look at the trailer for Game Builder Garage, and they showed off 40, 50 plus of Nintendo's own game creations, are you already seeing things that you're like, wow, I couldn't do that in Labo VR Garage? Are you already seeing the potential through Nintendo's own creations, or are you like, oh, that's pretty close to what I can do now, but it's a little bit better?
It also shows off the new features. Like, they're Nintendo, they could have showed off more. They made some cooler stuff. Like, if you look at the preloaded games in Labo Garage, most of them aren't that great, but then there's some that are like really cool, like only a few select amount. And when you go into the news section, like you said, to download more Nintendo games from Labo, those ones are a lot more like complex in code, and they're cool. So they can do that sort of stuff, but I imagine like there's a lot more to prioritize, a lot more time on their hands, or a lot less time for some things. So I get why, and it's enough to show that, oh, you can make a bunch of stuff there. But yeah, it inspired me to release my Doom video more, because it's like, I bet you didn't know you can make this though. I didn't even quite know that, but I just had to keep trying, really. I want to make every video of mine better than the last.
Gotta keep pushing yourself. Yeah, I for one I can't wait to see what else what you and the entire community come up with this game. And hey, even myself, I'm gonna dabble in this and see what monstrosities I can come up with. So
may the best man win.
There we go. Mr. Tiffles, thank you so much for joining me to discuss Game Builder Garage, Labo VR Garage, and your own creations in it. I was blown away by what you've made so far, and I can't wait to see what else you're going to be making. But if people want to follow you, where can they go to keep up to date on what exactly you're creating?
My Mr. Tiffles YouTube channel is exclusively Labo stuff. There's one speed paint, that's the least viewed video. So if you like speed paints, I don't know if I'm going to do any more of those. My Twitter and Instagram is mostly art, digital art on Clip Studio Paint and Blender as well. I also do 3D characters for like VTuber stuff, low poly, so that's pretty cool. And a shout out to my girlfriend Ivy Gotchi at Ivy Gotchi on Instagram and Twitter.
Awesome, and you can find links to all that in the description below. So, Mr. Tiffles, thank you again for joining us. And of course, stay tuned to Game Explained if there's any more super cool Labo VR creations we want to show off. But especially Game Builder Garage, as there's probably going to be a ton of cool things coming up in the very near future. With that, everyone, we'll catch you later. Bye.